Alright, hope everybody's having a good one. Welcome to Microsoft Flight Simulator with Cookie Pirate. Today, we're flying the Cirrus SR22. We're kind of leaving the Alaskan adventure that I've been doing so much lately. And we're going back down to a little bit of a warmer location. Kind of an area that I flew in a lot when I was getting started in the sim. We're down in the French Polynesian Islands. Gonna be flying from Bora to Moorea Island. Should be about a 40... Let's see what this says here. Yeah, 41 minutes. Going to 17,000 feet. Right about 130 nautical miles. Climb aboard. Now let's enjoy some... Let's enjoy some sunshine. Let's go flying. Something is not right here. It should be the middle of the day, and it is what looks to be about dawn or dusk. That's why. These didn't come on for whatever reason. Alright. It's always something. Alright, now enjoy the sunshine. Alright, battery switch is on. CDI to GPS, we'll initialize that. Just trying to get a couple things set up. We're going at 17,000 feet. FLC to 110. Nav on, VNav on. Strobe lights on. Not sure why the mixture's starting full rich, but okay. Boost pump on. Before we engage the magnetos, let's go ahead and actually call a pushback, so we're going to have to turn from this corner. I got the plane with the, I guess these are orchids on the wingtips, but very fitting to fly in French Polynesia. They did a good job with this airport too, the modeling of it. They also, they did a, they did a good job at modeling Bora and Moorea airports, which is where we're going. So it'll be kind of nice to have good scenery at both places. As we wait for the smoke to clear and we watch our dreams appear, I know that we can rise together. This vision that we share is ours. Together we can touch the stars. I know that we will see December. 'Cause when it's all over, the love that you
It's our working brake, maybe. There we go.
Now we've been through the cold. And we'll push back just far enough to where we can get ourselves turned around. But there should be adequate. There's the tower. Yeah, no, this is modeled quite well. Now, hold on a minute. They should disengage from here. Let me check this. And now they're going away. Alright, that's... I don't know why I had to hit it twice to get that to clear. Alright, well, we don't really have weather here at Bora. They don't have a weather reporting system. Let's go ahead and get the engine started here at this point. Turn the magnetos to both. Final check, clear left, clear right, and let's... Clear! Alright, engine is good. Must have come undone there, we're not in the pushback. Brake is set. Oil pressure is immediately up. Temperature is rising. Alternator switch is on. Let's lean the mixture out. Looking for peak RPM. Forward. That's it right there. Pull back to idle power. Let's turn our nav lights on, avionics on. And it looks like everything is clear around us. We're gonna go ahead and release the parking brake. Just a little bit more power and to get a little more effective turning on the brakes here. There we go. Spun around here. There we go. Overshot the center line just a little. Alright, take the power out, taxi up. Find the hold position marking and stop there, do a run up. Brakes. Alright. Run up is going to be as follows. Extra fall rich. Flaps aft. Let's go ahead and put some power in. So 1700 RPM. Back off a little bit there. Landing light, ice light, pitot heat all on. Electrical systems look good. I can turn those off and leave the landing light on. Let's do a mag check. Turn it to the right mag. Good. Back to both. Now to the left. Good. Back to both. Engine instruments are looking good. We've got proper fuel, good fuel flow. No errors or cautions. Idle power. Set trim to take off here. Flaps check half. And we'll do a quick check the flight controls. Rudder's good. Elevator's good. And ailerons are good. Back into the cockpit. Alright, let's take a look for the wind cone. A little bit tough to see from here, but right now, if we zoom in, it looks like the wind is blowing a little bit out of the kind of the east. Really the southeast. So what we're going to do is we're going to look across the runway, both sides. Clear left. Clear right. Release the parking brake. And what we're going to do is go out and do what is called a back taxi on the runway. We're going to take a left turn, taxi down to the end, because we want to take off going that direction. So we're going to go this way. We probably could do an intersection departure. Well, just for good measure, we're just going to taxi back to the end here. It's not far. Go idle power. We've already got a pretty good speed. Follow this yellow line. And that gets us spun around and lined up for departure. Alright, full power. Engine instruments look good so far. Airspeed is alive. We're going to rotate at 77, lift off in the low 80s, and then engage the autopilot at 800 feet. Fly. We're basically pointed right on course. There's 77. We're off at 85. It's okay. Got a positive rate. Bring the flaps up. We'll start climbing out closer to about 103. And just take a look at that view. It is tough to beat that. As much as I love the Alaskan, you know, backcountry and all of that stuff, this is one of the most beautiful places.
Engaging autopilot.
Autopilot's on. Speed's coming up a little bit. And 1,000 feet above the ground, we can turn the landing lights off. Don't need the pitot heat at the moment. Mixture stays full rich for just a little bit longer here. And we're already right on course. Took us a little bit of time to get up off the ground. Take a look at that though. Looks to be a little bit bumpy. Absolutely beautiful down here though. Whoa. Oh, that's cool. They've got the flowers underneath the wingtips and then the call sign tail number of the aircraft. That is cool. Zoom out, take a look. Look at these here down here. The St. Regis, I believe, is this one. Or I don't know if it's exactly, but one of these is the St. Regis, the other's the Four Seasons, Bora Bora. Just for fun, I looked up how much these cost, and one of the overwater bungalows, I think it was the St. Regis, cost I want to say $7,000 a night. It's just ridiculous. But they're super nice. Well, I go back into the, well, actually not yet. I'll point out. So we have Bora, of course, back here, where we took off from. That is Tupai. Maupiti is the, you can probably see just a tiny little island there sticking up. And there's a coral reef, and it's all around it. And then if you look back in this direction, this is the island of Taha'a, which is famous for vanilla, Raiatea, Huahine, and then in the far distance, we'll be headed toward Moorea, where we're landing, and Tahiti, which is probably the most famous. It is the largest and most populated of the French Polynesian islands. So for now, we kind of just hang out and cruise. Or cruise, climb, cruise, whatever. You feel like you're cruising. I decided to change it up from the typical Alaskan adventure today. I started out flying through, throughout the Hawaiian Islands and different groups of the French Polynesian, what they call the Society Islands, which are everything from Bora and the surrounding ones that I just mentioned, all the way over to Tahiti. But I've particularly enjoyed the scenery of the Marquesas Islands, which are a relatively obscure group of islands that not a whole lot of people know much about. But the scenery is absolutely beautiful. Maybe we'll do a flight into in the Marquesas at some point in the not distant future. Probably between the two largest and most populated islands up there, which are Nukuhiva and Hivaoa. Suppose what I could do is turn this on. Here we go. Got some fairly favorable winds, 20 knot. Well, we've got about a 16 knot tailwind component right now. It's what we would call a quartering tailwind. We're leveling off at 17,000. We're not going quite as high. So we don't really need to. It's a short flight, only about 41 minutes of flight time. We'll go outside the cockpit again real quick. Couple things to point out. So this is the island of Taha, which is famous for French vanilla. Now that must be it right here. I believe this is Pearl Resorts Le Taha, which is another one of those famous resorts with the overwater bungalows. You see quite a bit of that. It'd be kind of cool to stay in a place like that. If I ever go here, I'll have to stay in a place like that. Would be kind of cool. And this here is the island of Raiatea. Huahine is here. It's kind of almost split into two islands, but it's connected via basically a sandbar. And then in the background, it's maybe really tough to see, but right out here you can just barely start to see the outline of Tahiti. And then the island of Moorea sits directly in front of it, so you can't really distinguish it from Tahiti right now. But as you get closer, of course, it'll become more clear. Let's see, pitot heat is required. It's 3 degrees Celsius. There it is. 2 Celsius. Now we're almost at 15,000 feet, and the temperature is still above freezing. I can't quite see it from right there, but the Raiatea airport. Right here off our right wingtip, and is the closest airport to, I believe it's the closest to Bora. These two islands have airports, but they're very small, and I think the distance is actually, well, to here it's probably a tiny bit closer, but I don't think it can accommodate quite the variety of aircraft that, of course, Bora and Raiatea can. Oh, yeah, if you zoom in now, you can kind of see a little bit of a distinction. So Moorea sits kind of right up here. Tiny bit darker right there. Well, there we go. And Tahiti is here in the back. We have leveled off at our cruise altitude, 17,000 feet. So we're going to pull the power back. Okay. And we're going to lean the mixture down to just about 20 gallons per hour. And that is peak flow, or peak power. Back if we go to the engine page. Set that at 90% power. That's exactly 20 gallons per hour, and that's where we want to have it. Other things, we can shut the fuel switch pump off, switch fuel tanks. Lights are good. I have to leave the pitot heat on. It's -3 right here. we're getting about a 19 knot cross tailwind component. It's a 30 knot quartering crosswind. So we do have the wind in our favor today. Quite a view. This is going to be a pretty easy laid-back flight. Just get to see a few islands and ocean. A little simpler. You also don't have to deal with the rough weather that you tend to get up in Alaska. Excuse me. Northern Canada. Areas like that. Which makes it fun and challenging in its own right. But every once in a while, it's nice to do just a short, easy, relaxing flight. Where you're not having to fight the weather and all that other stuff. So if you look down there, that's the island of Huahine. And can't really see it based on where we are, where we're looking at right now. But in a moment we'll pass over and you can see that it almost is two individual islands. But it's really one, connected by just a really thin kind of sand strip. At low tide, at high tide, it actually does kind of break into two islands. Yep, there it is. Actually, it looks like they have a bit of a beach, or not a beach, a bridge. Oh, there is a beach. Kind of right here is where the two islands are basically separated or, you know, joined depending on the tide. Kind of an interesting aspect of the geography of there. And this gets to be the longest part of the flight here. Only have about 22 minutes remaining. And it took us probably a good 13 minutes or so to climb. So we don't spend a long time at cruise. Which is also why we're only going to 17,000 feet, because we want to be able to level off and get some measure of efficiency. I honestly think I would probably go even lower in the real world, maybe 13,000 or 15. Heck, maybe even 11,000. I don't know. Just different factors that go into choosing the cruise altitude. And I'm not an expert in the highest level of factoring in different things for the decision. But I do try to evaluate the winds aloft to try to pick something that's favorable. So that takes into account the winds aloft, but also the plane's performance. Are you going to burn a ton of fuel trying to get to a high altitude where the amount that you save at that high altitude isn't going to be worth the extra fuel burnt? If not, then you just stick with a lower one. You might have weaker winds aloft, but ultimately you'll spend less time at slow airspeeds in climb and be able to take advantage of higher airspeeds in cruise. So you have those limitations. There's a number of factors that go into it. In this plane, it doesn't go highly into, it doesn't get highly considered into the cruising altitude, so to speak, but one thing is we kind of have to make the determination of, do we want, based on how long the route is, do we want to do a full power climb, like I've done here today, or do we do the cruise climb, which takes longer but burns about half the fuel that the full power climb does, and you'll take that into account to some degree when I choose the altitude I want to fly at, but that factors more so into how much fuel do I need to carry. So there are a lot of factors that go into choosing what altitude. And it's kind of easy with this plane because you can get to 25,000 feet pretty easily, which is the service ceiling of the airplane. But in some planes, like the Diamond, the DA62, it's very difficult to fly, and it's very inefficient to fly at the service ceiling. Whereas at this plane, it makes plenty of sense to do so. So it is aircraft dependent. Now you can start to see it more clearly if you look out over here. Actually looks like there's a little bit of cloud cover building up, but not much. Still like quite good weather. This is the island of Moorea, which is where we're going. And behind that is the island of Tahiti, which is the largest and most populated of all of these Society Islands, but also all of the islands in French Polynesia, of all island groups or chains. Alfie, welcome. You excited for Flight Sim 2024? Heck yeah. I can't wait. Better weather, different aircraft types. I know a lot of people are real excited for the career mode. I probably won't get too heavily involved in that just because I still like plotting out my routes and kind of doing my own thing. But I think I will try that career mode, and I think it will be fun. Change in seasons, updated scenery. As I've mentioned, I think before you got here, but most of my flying is done in Alaska or Northwest Canada, like the Yukon. areas like that. So one big thing I'm looking forward to for up there are the northern lights, the aurora. So it just across the board is going to be a big improvement. I didn't even pull up the route on chart. Alright, you can see it here. This is Bora Bora, where we took off. Flew over Taha'a, Raiatea, Huahine, and believe it or not, we're just past the halfway point. We're just way out over the ocean. Here's Moorea and Tahiti. So we zoom in, the airport runs kind of like along here. I don't think Moorea has reporting weather either. Very few of these airports actually do. Makes it quite difficult. No. The advantage to the location of the airport for Moorea is it's quite close to Tahiti, which is right here. And looking at the wind, (010) at 6, so the wind isn't too strong now. Of course, that's the next island over. 28 Celsius. (1014) I think is like 29.95 or something like that. So right now it's showing the wind like this, so that can mean a couple different things. Generally, these islands receive trade winds. If the wind is blowing this way, it's probably blowing like that, although it could curve. So it could curve around that way, or it could curve around that way, or there could just be a direct crosswind at the airport. Just kind of tough to evaluate that. We're going to need to start descending here, though. So what I'm going to do is go in and choose... Tell you what, we'll set up for the visual approach runway 12. It's giving us a point for top of descent. Oh, hold on a second. And we're going to set direct to that fix right there. It actually might be telling us to descend already, but what we're going to do is actually change that. Yeah. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a manual descent. So we will control it ourselves. What we'll do is set the FLC for 155 knots and we'll pull back on the power. And we'll be looking for about a... I would say somewhere around... Hold on. Oh, you know what? I've got to set that. That's why. That'll pitch us down. We'll pick up some speed, and then, so we will basically control our vertical speed, or descent rate with the throttle. When you have a fixed speed, a fixed airspeed on the FLC, you control your descent rate with the throttle. When you have a fixed descent rate, when you're using VNAV, vertical navigation, you control your airspeed with the throttle. Because you don't have an auto throttle in this aircraft, so you can't set both. If you were in a plane with an auto throttle, you could have a fixed speed and a fixed descent rate, and the auto throttle would control the power required to maintain both of those. But because you don't have an auto throttle in this plane, you have to pick one or the other. And use the throttle to control the one that isn't being kept constant. In fact, yeah, we're gonna have to pull that back even more. I'm gonna be going in a bit of a steep descent here. Yeah, thank you. Zoom out on the range. Yeah, okay, that's setting us up how we need to be. So we will go to this fix here. If you select a visual approach, it doesn't provide any... It gives you the warning, it doesn't provide any terrain or obstruction clearance or anything. But it basically sets you a final approach point, and what this fix here, it's the same for every visual approach you set up, straight. To get you set up on the approach course before your, so to speak, final approach fix. That is simulated. I don't know the exact parameters as in the distance and the altitudes that they set them up for. But it's pretty reliable. If you follow it, you'll have a pretty easy time. But you have to hand fly the approach. This descent rate, I think, is actually working out quite well. Let's grab a little bit of information for the airport. So what we'll do is pull the chart back up and click on the airport itself. So 4,000 feet. And the elevation is 2 feet. Airport sits 2 feet above sea level. Oh boy. Okay. So we can actually lower that all the way to 1,000 feet. And we have 6 minutes. Showing to be at the airport in about 8 minutes. 6 minutes and change to that fix. Of course, we'll start slowing down. Oh, we'll have really another 10 or 11 minutes in the air. And our descent rate will take us down to the ground in about 10 minutes. So we're on a pretty good descent path, although this is actually showing a little bit steeper, so we can pull back on the power. Pull back on the power will give us a steeper descent rate. +8, we can turn the pitot heat off. I'll be getting ready for a couple descent items in the checklist here. Don't think we need to lean the mixture. Looks like it's still in the green arc. That's Yeah, right at the bottom. So we're gonna leave it. Turn the landing light on, we get a little lower. Let's do an altimeter reset there. Take a little more power out, just keep an eye on our cylinder head temps, which are good right now. It's good there. Turn the boost pump on. We get a little lower. And we'll just keep an eye on the mixture. Now, like now we're below the green arc, so we are going to enrich in it. Just consist of bumping it forward a little bit there. Grab a look around. Ton of ocean. This is the coral atoll of Tetiaroa, which is the, I believe, the Marlon Brando resort. It's a privately owned island. Now if we zoom in, we can actually... No. Never mind. I was gonna say, I think you can see the airport if you zoom in, but you can't. It's actually just behind this, that slope right there. Oh well. Ton of open ocean. Now if you go back around and look that way, you can just barely see a couple of the islands here. Huahine is here. I believe that's Raiatea. And Taha'a there. Maybe Bora Bora just behind that, if I'm not mistaken. Spin the aircraft back around facing forward. Or we'll spin our view around, I should say. Alright, let's go ahead and do some descent items here. Fuel switch pump is on. Mixture is still at the bottom of the green, so we're okay there. When we get lower, we'll have to go full forward. Full rich mixture. We'll go ahead and turn the landing light on. Altitude of 11,000 is set, or 1,000. I was gonna say 1,100, but it's actually 1,000. We can actually zoom in. Take a look at the slopes here. The island is kind of shaped a little bit like a shark tooth. But it actually is these really jagged peaks. Most of these society islands do. Neat jagged appearance, very lush. In fact, you can see that we're already starting to get pretty much to the top of some of these. Yep, there it is. There's red on the map. We're at the altitude of that, and now we're below it, of that mountain peak right there. Steepen our descent rate a little bit. How's our cylinder head temps are good. There's the airport. I can actually pretty much fly right to it. Showing will be on the ground in 2 minutes. It's going to be a little more than that. Approach is activated, so it'll actually lead us right up onto the course that we need to be on. Zoom in. Alright, here's what we're gonna have to do. FLC needs to get turned off. We're going to go idle on the power and just keep an eye on the temperatures here. Should start slowing down. Yeah, it is kind of just barely though. We're going to level off at that final. And we're going to have to get the plane slowed down fast. Here's the way we're going to do that. We're about to level off. Below 150 we can go half flaps, but I'm going to wait down to 140 just to give a little bit of a speed buffer. There we go. Disengage the autopilot. We're going to fly by hand. A bit high. Once we get to 110 we can go full flaps though. And that'll also steepen our descent rate. It may require us to level off very briefly. And we're idle power there. Below 110. 500 feet to go. Add a little bit of power, and now we're a tiny bit low, but that's actually helped us out and bleed off a bit of speed. Let's go extra full rich, and let's make sure we have everything configured how we need it. Add just a little bit of power in. Speed's still getting a little slow here. And yeah, we actually do have a little bit of a quartering tailwind. 3 to 4 knot tailwind component, but that's not bad. We should be fine here. Yeah. Alright, let's see how this goes. We'll take the power out. Just gonna level, and yeah, this isn't really letting me flare much. Probably the trim wheel. Kind of 3-pointed that. About 100. Minus 106. That's not great. Not terrible. And we're gonna have to turn around here on the runway. Kind of floated a little bit as we came down. We carried a little bit of extra speed. Probably try to turn. There's the turnaround. Turnaround pad up at the end. So we'll just take that. Let's get on the brakes here. Bring the flaps up. Not a great landing, not terrible. I'm okay with it. I've got a feeling the trim wheel was not, or trim tab was not set ideally for the approach. It's probably configured to still maintain that descent when we disconnected the autopilot. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Yep. no big deal. I probably should have reset that. Alright, laps are up, mixture is full, Rich. We can go ahead and turn the boost pump off. Sometimes you do that after you land, sometimes you won't do it until you shut down. Doesn't matter too much. We burned 15 gallons of fuel, that's actually not bad. And there's a turn off, except it is closed. That's the X means it's closed to aircraft. Vehicles can use that. Little trucks. Or the fire trucks stationed in the control tower. That's actually really cool. And here's our turn. Man, we had to come around all the way back here for that. Oh, that's pretty, like a little beach hut or something like that there. And look at that. Wow. That's pretty. Are they? Yep. Oh, yeah, there's our marshalling. Okay. There we go. Alright, power idle. Come on. Park brake is set. And is indicating that we can cut the engine and be done. So, I'll go ahead and clear that message there quick. Landing light off, nav light off. We leave the strobe lights on until we shut the aircraft engine down. Boost pump is off, don't need to worry about switching the tanks. Turn the avionics off first. All our engine instruments are stable here. So what we'll do is pull back slowly, idle power. Idle cut, 41 minutes, that's right on target for our expected flight time. Alright, how about that? Engine is cut off. Alternator switches. Turn the magneto switch to off. Strobe lights off. And finally the battery switches. There we are. Take a look at that. They did such a good job with this terminal. I think they did even better with this one than they did the Bora one. And that one looked quite nice. But this just looks cool. Look at that. There's a vending machine. You can see kind of something that resembles a gift shop. Dairy milk. Thank you. Something, probably an Air Tahiti sign. The island's main airline. But that's just a beautiful view. You get this building, the backdrop of the mountains. Palm trees swaying in the wind. Man, they did so good with this. Alright folks, well, welcome to Moorea in French Polynesia. Thanks for flying with me. I'll be doing another one here shortly. So I hope to catch you then, or maybe at the next appointed time. Until then, folks, take care, stay safe. We'll see ya.